You know, one of the great things about getting up early and talking to you is that, well, the reason I'm doing it is because I'm using this time really to talk to you about things that are going on in life, the random things that I see when I look at what we call the show prop, to tear down the fourth wall and to talk to you about the randomness things. Welcome to the non Stratera soaked musings of an ADHD mind. Which is cool because, one of the things that I was telling somebody last night at dinner is one of the reasons why I sit down and I talk to you on YouTube in the morning and I go over the, interesting things that there are to be talked about when I pull them up is that it shows you an authentic view of me, my curiosity, and just me just telling you, riffing and telling you what I feel, because the truth of the matter is I love that you do the same, and we're not pretty. We don't need filters. Do I look like, I mean, I probably need a filter. I'm guilty of using them. A lot of people are guilty of using them, but I've decided anymore that I'm done worrying about my insecurities, and you'll tell me if I have them. So as I get ready to go for today, which is going to be a busy day across the iHeart Nation, starting here in DC and then in Dallas this afternoon, where I get to play the part of Zan, and then across the country, of course, on this President's Day on our iHeart Nation, iHeart radio stations across the iHeart Nation. This one called Today's Mix that you can hear on our iHeart app, provided you have it for free. Favorite app store. You can download it. You can stay in the moment at any given time, because being in the moment is what we're all about, not being yesterday's news, not being Friday's news, not being news when it didn't happen. Why compete with it, But anyway. Nonetheless, I digress. So let's start at the beginning. Number one, I wanted to say over on TikTok, if you follow me at Toby Knapp 0, or on any really of the stations that I might be on, you can see that we're playing a game called Ask Me Anything. It's not really a game. It's more or less you asking me the random things that come to your life, and I will answer these questions randomly. Like at some point in time when these conversations that we're doing right now go later on in the day when most people are awake, because I'm aware that I was driving to work and, well, I made a discovery, which I'll get to in a minute. I was driving to work. We'll get to that. It's ADHD kicking in. See what I mean? Get it out of the way now while I can before I have to start a choreographed kind of maneuver until about 9 o'clock on the East Coast or so. One of the things that I've decided is that if I'm going to be real with you, and I'm meeting a lot of you for the first time, and a lot of you are finding this for the first time, is that I might as well just be straight up with you about anything in my life. And I've lived a lot of my life out loud. So there are only two rules that I have about Ask Me Anything. And I promise I won't prepare answers in advance. I will read the questions. I don't need to think about the answers. They're just two things that I will not answer. One is, don't ask about income, because it's embarrassing enough and you'll trigger me and make me feel some sort of way and very insecure. There's a lot of different things in life, and nobody knows what everybody's going through, no matter what somebody might be making. That's number one. What a family might be making. Number two, there are areas which I have to keep boundaries around because they're not my stories to tell. And that's been a lesson I've learned in the last 13, 14 months of my own health journey and my own mental health journey, is that, stories that aren't yours, you shouldn't tell. You know what I mean? Stories that are yours, you can tell if you choose to. But when they involve other people, that's probably not okay. And, I've had to rethink a lot of things. Not that it's been right or wrong, but just that, there are things that I probably could have done differently. Especially when it comes to living so much out loud when it involves other people. And so I have to respect boundaries. And boundaries are important. And boundaries mean something. And boundaries are put up not to insult or to make someone feel some sort of way. But I think, and I'm no therapist, I think that boundaries exist to protect people and to give them a sense of, hey, this is okay with me now, but I'm maintaining some control over my story and my narrative. So my significant other's job is much more important than mine. Not discounting what I do, not discounting what anybody who does what I do does. But there are some things about her job and our relationship that she's asked me to just not really talk about. So I owe her that. And the same thing with my daughter. My daughter has her own life, her own things. If she says it's cool with you that I talk about them, then it's cool with you. then it's cool if I share it with you. But know that if you ask, I'm going to vet it through her, and you'd probably be better to follow her on her socials and to see what she has to say about things, because she's certainly got her own opinions, her own story to tell, and she's not afraid to tell them now. And I'm very excited about the young lady my daughter continues to become. And isn't that what life's all about? It's about always being in the act of becoming, you know, and learning new things. Like, let me tell you what I learned this morning before I dig into the prepparillo. And by the way, I want to say thank you to, I have a team of people that are around me in our iHeart Nation who are thankless. Um, they do things for us every day that keep things, keep our talent informed, keep us ahead of present, keep us in touch with tomorrow's news today. They push old news out to the side, unless, of course, it's still going to be something that resonates in pop culture. Brian Check talking about you, Sassy talking about you, Tom Travis, one of our great iHeart Country people talking about you, Kent, Terry, and your team. You guys keep everything together and allow me to be who I am, at least after 9 o'clock in the morning, from anywhere in the iHeart Nation. That's the cool thing about what they do for us, is they give us the ability to go live anywhere that there's decent Wi-Fi. Some people choose not to use all the tools. I know. I can hear you laughing, Kent, and anybody else on the iHeart team that develops our future tech, iHeart Media Tech team. But you guys need to know as we get into this new week, and I know it's a holiday, so you won't see this probably today because y'all have off. Company holidays, companies. Anyway, that's another story for a minute. But thank you guys for what you do. And so it is President's Day, and I'm working, and I'm curious, and you'll see this asked online. Who else is working on this President's Day, this Monday, this President's Day? I'm talking to you right now before I get into different things across our iHeart Nation, aware that the business of the town that I'm in, my primary market, we call them, if I continue to let you in, is just outside of Washington, D.C. It's in suburban Washington, D.C., Montgomery County, Maryland. That's where our facilities are, serving the Washington, D.C. DMA. One of the things that is really just the most interesting about this town is that it shuts down on federal holidays for the most part. Everybody's got off. There's no school today. The banks are closed. Your post offices are closed. It is what it is. Now retail's wide open. But let me tell you, man, it's crazy. Like, this is the first time driving in, right, that I realized that if I'm up early enough, right, and I'm on Main Street where our radio station is, I can swing by Taco Bell until 3 in the morning. This is kind of a game-changing thing, because making a run for said border at 3 o'clock in the morning is not something I've ever thought about before. And so when I'm passing by the Taco Bell this morning, like, I don't know, like 2:30 or so, and I look and I see the line, I didn't realize that that line is people who are waiting to get stuff. And it could be because today is a federal holiday, because down the street from that said Taco Bell is a um, establishment for karaoke and, a bar and whatnot, and they still had people doing their thing. And I'm like, yep, federal holiday only in this town. But man, who knew? Taco Bell open till 3, then they reopen again in a few hours for breakfast, and then they're full. I'm like, it's really the little things you notice. I told you, random curiosity. I'm spewing. The ADHD meds haven't kicked in, but the coffee has. So that's one of the things I learned today on this February 19th, President's Day. Let's see what else is going on today that people will be talking about. And by the way, I want to say hello to my great friends who helped make all of this stuff happen. It is so good to work with you and to partner with you and to come up with new ideas with you. You guys make this game so much fun. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Prep teams, Ria. I see you guys over there. All of you people who do your thing. Premier teams, y'all are the best. So here we are. Let's see what's going on today that people might be talking about. Well, this is under consideration for random. Let's see here. 31,622,400 seconds. That's how many seconds will tick off in 2024. Now, this is a leap year, so on the 29th, you get screwed 10 days from now. Where's my birthday? I don't know. The 28th, which means it's before your birthday. Dating apps are now baking AI into what they're doing. 1 in 3 men are using AI for relationship advice. We talked about this a little bit on one of the shows. And then, I just, AI, oh, well, it's Valentine's Day. You use AI to help you write a Valentine. I mean, I guess as a thought starter, that's cool. But if it's writing my stuff for me and you don't tell me it's writing your stuff, like, for instance, this video, you go to YouTube right now and you look at the description for this video, that was generated by AI. I specifically ChatGPT, and I don't mind telling you that because it is okay, to use tools that give you help. So I guess that being said, I shouldn't judge, but I do find it interesting that they're baking it into different apps, um, giving you ways to flirt, helping to automatically craft messages, and to provide relationship advice. There's a survey floating around that sparked all of this, and I have to get out of that. And not everything needs something that sparks a conversation. But again, I'm just telling you, what the spark is with me, at least, and this is just something I've learned, is it's curiosity. It's pure curiosity. And so I see AI, I'm into tech. I look at it and I'm like, wow, man, 1 in 3 guys, 18 to 34, need AI for relationship advice. I guess it is cheaper than therapy, considering that's a nightmare. If I only told you how much money a week I was laying out at one point in time last week in therapy for myself and members of family, you would be shocked. And I guarantee you it's a lot more than just entering something into whatever they call Gemini and all this other stuff. I think here's the thing. We talk a little bit about this with AI and that with AI, but the bottom line is AI is getting baked into everything. And the reason why it's getting baked into everything is because they don't want you to leave the walled garden of the AI, right? Interesting thing. We've talked about the lingering over lunch to lose weight before. That's I think, one of the things I say whenever I read some of this stuff is I flip through it and it's like, there's a Rolodex somewhere that says, oh, it's time for us to pull out this information again. If you linger over lunch, you'll lose weight. Yeah, that's called not eating. If you eat slow, you won't eat. I ate dinner last night with a Special Olympic champion, and I ate very slowly because I've had weight loss surgery, and it was kind of full. And I drank some water or some juice, and because I haven't had booze since October, it's like, you fill up fast. It is what it is. So, duh. But anyway, today's one of those days where I feel like the Rolodex of this stuff is now back on that, Anyway, let's see. Oh, here's something very cool. And I like this. And you might ask questions, but I know that, gaming is an NCAA sport. Now they have different levels of gaming and different people who can compete with different gaming. They have even different identities for gender and such when it comes to gaming. Well, there are 2 college athletes, right, who have been granted scholarships for playing cornhole in South Carolina. Winthrop University, South Carolina, gave scholarships to Gavin Hammond and Jackson Remick, because apparently they're like really good at cornhole. So that one I would flag because that's going to come up across our iHeart Nation today, and including in an ensemble show if I can pitch it and everybody else buys into it. So, because that's what you do. You bring your unique skill set, your points of view, you take their points of view, you dance in this thing. It's something they've baked into me, and I just quit trying to fight this thing. Anyway, let's see. Oh, here's something that'll make you go, damn. Elderly residents are getting Valentine's Day cards from, wait for it, funeral home directors. Moving on. Married people are happier, but why? That's the mystery of life, according to a Gallup poll. Now, when it comes to these polls, right, there's the YouGov polls, there's polls that are sponsored by people who are marketing something. Then there's Gallup. Gallup's generally one of those polls where they're in the business of getting data and getting information from you and telling you all about it. Well, apparently they conducted this poll over 14 years. 2.5 million American adults found that married men and women, I can't speak today, rated their happiness 20 percentage points higher than unmarried counterparts of the same sex. Lord have mercy on your soul. Married people are happier, but nobody knows why. There's a bunch of nuances to it. People without high school degrees, they say, are happier. Like married individuals without a high school degree, they have higher levels of happiness. unmarried adults who are graduate degree level types, not as happy. That's interesting to me. So that's another one that gets kind of thrown in here. This one's a little bit closer to home. The DC lottery screwed up big time. John, Mr. Cheeks, lights, camera, action. No lights, no camera, no action. And you waited too long to cash in your lottery ticket. Now, he's probably going to sue. It's conjecture. It's not a part of the news digest. But this guy, I mean, is out millions. I guess he thought he won the jackpot. Tried to redeem the ticket. None of the numbers actually matched the winning numbers, but he thought he won because of a mistake on the lottery website. They have mistaken quotes. You know what that means? Somebody screwed up. So I guess the lottery admitted there was a mistake made. I don't know if they owe him millions, but they made a mistake. Something needs to be done for the guy, and I can kind of agree with that. Because it's really not his fault. And if they admitted the mistake, that's fine. If you can prove there was a mistake, that's fine. You got to remember these days, everything done that's involved online is logged. Like, for instance, and this goes to the mistake thing. Admit the mistake, right? Don't be shady about the mistake. Admit it. Like, for instance, when you have multiple shared accounts for something, somebody forgets a password or forgets some sort of two-factor authentication code or whatever, but there's a lot of people who use the account, and boom, you get locked out. And I'm not trying to be inside, but this has happened to me and to colleagues before. And then all of a sudden, because it's breaking the rules of the playground, they freeze this and do that. And one of the ways that they fix things that I'm very aware of is that you keep notes on everything. Once you log into something, there's a file being run on you. In fact, right now, there's something being run on me, probably called Full Story, which tells whomever, anywhere, exactly what I'm doing, when I'm doing it. And they know that you and I have been spewing this stuff for the last little bit, but the truth of the matter is we haven't talked in a minute. And I didn't write my daily diary last week, which I got to get back to in a minute here coming up. But everything has a planned purpose, and you're in my designated talk to you video time, which I choose to change or adapt as directed. But anyway, the truth of the matter is this, is once you log into something, you've given them permission to track everything, and they do. I found that I was not the only person who had repeatedly logged out. And it's funny because the tech that I was talking to said, oh, this looks like human error. This looks like human error as a result of frustration. Multiple login attempts from this person, this person, this person, this person. Are those their legal names? And I was just like, man, I would assume so. Who knew? Rules. You got to know the rules of the playground in order to be able to push the rules of the playground to find out where they used to be. It's something that I've kind of evolved in my life. I used to believe in, shoot first, beg for forgiveness later. I used to believe in, just act, or don't worry about how I make the sausage, but just tell me you need sausage made, and I'll get the sausage made for you. May not be what you want it to be, but that's fine. But that's life. You know what I mean? And if I'm being authentic and I'm being honest with you, and I really don't have anything to hide from you, that's just the way it is in this life in which we live, So there's that. Let's see, anything. I know entertainment news is what it is. Wonka's done well. Bob Marley smacked everybody. Madam Web apparently was the tank at the box office this week. Avatar was #1 a year ago. See, they digest this stuff for you. It's actually pretty good. The People's Choice Awards happened. I didn't watch. I was celebrating a birthday of a Special Olympian and holding an actual gold medal. It was very, very cool. You can, by the way, see that on my Insta at Toby Knapp, or just check the bio for all the info you need to know. Let's see. Michael J. Fox made everybody feel good at BAFTA. Taylor Swift is sad because a fan was lost on their way to a show in Australia, lost her life. Taylor made a bunch of people oh, this is old news, but you read about it over the weekend. Taylor made a contribution to the family of the DJ who passed away, a wedding DJ and radio host who passed away at the Chiefs victory parade, right? Taylor obviously stepped in and donated a ton of money that was matched by Travis Kelce. Now the family will at least monetarily be taken care of in spite of that disaster that went down. But, hey, I guess It is what it is. I don't know. Does this stuff in the news, are we numb to this whole thing now? I mean, I guess I can ask you this here, but I can't really ask you that anywhere else, but I'll just ask you. And you can ask me anything if you want. Do I think we're numb to this? But again, if you, let me turn it back on you. Are we numb to the fact that, I heard mixed things about it. Like it was, to some people, it was like a very important thing in the moment. And it was a very important thing in the moment. It would have been very tone deaf not to acknowledge it, I think. But the next day when it's still all over the news, it was just, what do you do? I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I don't have the answer for that. I just but I do know this much. To me, it's more important to know what it is that you think so that I can give you and be and try to influence in my own little spheres of influence, of which there are multiple, so that I can give you the best thought. You know what I mean? Which will probably help you maybe kind of see that, number one, I'm being honest with you, that I don't know the answer to the question either. And two, maybe we can have a conversation which will help us to find our way forward, because I don't think we're having enough conversations about that stuff. It's a little bit odd, but that's, again, just me. Speaking of Ask Me Anything, there's a dad on TikTok going viral answering questions with the young son. And here's the thing. I would assume that they're probably really authentic. Sometimes I know that there are parents who use their kids as props on some of these social media things. And I don't know about that, but maybe that's a good question for you. How do you feel about parents who clearly, obviously use their kids as like social media props? I don't want to judge. I'm just curious about your thoughts. I mean, I don't have a right or a wrong answer. I just think you have to remember when a kid gets to be a certain age, like I've learned with my daughter, you have to understand that boundaries are a thing. And if they tell you no, then that means no. And if you're not supposed to talk about it, if there's a rule about it, as I've been reminded, and I didn't really realize this until, I realized it into life, that, there are things that people would prefer stay somewhat not your business. And that's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I didn't used to necessarily always think that. But then again, that's the constant in life, change and learning new things. So if you get a chance, you'll see this video probably on whatever iHeartRadio website you were on. If you search Toby, go to iHeartToby.com. I guess let me leave you with this, and then we'll get into some other stuff that I've got to get into for the rest of the day so that you can, get into your President's Day and I'll get into my President's Day. And then eventually I'll be home and we can talk a little bit later on today if you want to, because I think we're going to try to bring back the 6:05 Toby times if I don't have other things going on, because I want to feel like either today or tomorrow there might be some sort of Zoom thing I need to be a part of. And then I have this is like doctor's week, but I'm still waiting on answers about something. Anyway, so let me ask you this. Words that you use in place of dirty words around the office or in life. Survey finds the average kid hears mom or dad use 10 swears a week. 10 swears. So what are some dirty words you use? Well, bywords. My dad used to call them bywords. I would still get in trouble. My mouth would get washed out with soap if I used a byword. I know, not saying it's right or wrong, but I grew up with parents who did not spare the rod, spoil the child. And if you said some things, you were going to taste some Dove. Or was it Irish Spring? Ooh, that was the worst. Made me wish for the ivory soap. But anyway, yeah. So what are those words you use in place of your dirty words? My grandmother used to use shaw as one of them. And I want to recall her she always used the funniest bywords for dirty words. Oh, drat it. Or drat that darn. Blah. She always used to say that when she would play golf and she screwed up a drive, Mimi. And the reason I knew that they probably weren't words I was supposed to say is because she'd look at me and say, "Don't tell your father I said that word." So drop your favorite words to use in place of whatever in the comments below. All right. Don't forget to ask me anything. Fire your questions away. You'll see it on Instagram today, my Insta story. I'm going to attempt to figure out some things about the home stations, Facebook and whatever that I keep having problems with. And I stopped just short of getting everybody logged out and locking out things and pulling more attention toward everybody, because I know that, well, once you pull the attention towards things, they start looking around and they're like, oh, I see you're breaking this rule. I see you're breaking this rule. Or Oh, this might not be right. Oh, this happened. Gotcha. Next thing you know, your brand page is temporarily locked out. This is the Hades that is the life of these people. You have a personal page. Well, your personal page can manage this, but the personal page is your personal page because it's got all of. Oh, wait a minute. Do you know for. I'm not that admin. I don't have those answers, sir. I have no idea what you're talking about. But I do know this. My parents named me Toby, Toby Knapp. I can tell you that my insurance says my name is Toby Knapp and my SAG after card says my name is Toby Knapp. And that's right, I even have bills that say I'm Toby Knapp. And apparently I can confirm my ID with that. Thanks for jumping in. Infinite randomness as I get the day started. We've kind of had a preview of the things going on. There'll be more, I'm sure, but I just wanted to check in with you because I know how that's important. And enough of you have reached out to me to ask how I'm doing. And I will tell you this, I am doing great now because yesterday is yesterday. And having somebody remind me in the guise of a project that yesterday was yesterday's news. We don't have time in this life for yesterday's news or old news. What we have time for is right now. Tomorrow, it'll take care of itself. So live in the moment now. Have the best moment now you can. Find that immediacy which brings you happy. And remember, along the way, everything you believe that you know is going to evolve and change. It's not bad. It's not good. It might be scary. Those are feelings, and you're allowed to have them. Have a wonderful day today. Toby is my name. I've approved everything you've heard above because, well, it's my YouTube channel. I can. But those are the three things that I want you to remember about me. When you watch this from now on, when you see me from now on socially, there are three things that are very, very important to me. And that's what I'm going to try to give you. A glance into my random, authentic curiosity. And I'm not going to hold back unless there's some boundaries. I love you. I mean it. You make my life worth getting up this early in the morning. I know that sounds like BS. Are you supposed to say that? Nah, nobody's asked me to do this. Nobody's asking me to do whatever. I do it because I think you do it for me and you give me a reason to make things happen. Love you, mean it. Talk to you soon on one of these fine iHeart radio stations near you.